Hello. It is, what day is it? What? Wednesday. Wednesday. How weird is it with this whole, like, every day's kind of a little bit the same. So, I'm always forgetting what day it is. Oh, there we go. Come back. Great. How are you today? I'm okay. I'm okay. I get to move on to some other kind of stages of my process at the moment, which I'm kind of excited about. So, as I mentioned to you the other day, which may have been yesterday, Funny Kid, no, it was the day before, the Funny Kid belly flop, I got to the end of writing it, which was really, really fun. And I think you're going to really like it. It is about the swimming carnival. And I don't know how you feel about the swimming carnival, but when I was at school, I hated the swimming carnival. Like, absolutely dreaded it. It was like, well, in Australia, we have the swimming carnival quite early in the year because that's when our summer is. So kind of after Christmas, like you have Christmas, then it's like, not long till the swimming carnival. I hated the swimming carnival. So in Funny Kid Belly Flop, Max is trying to get the swimming carnival cancelled, and he does all sorts of crazy things trying to cancel it. So that was really, really fun. And then kind of you write the big finale. I don't know how you find the Funny Kid books, but I always try to give you like really big dramatic finales in those stories that are kind of funny and crazy and usually with a few twists in it and things you don't see coming. And so I was able to write all that. And I find when I'm writing that, I write really, really fast because it all just kind of comes together. Which is quite different to some of the harder bits that usually happen in around the middle, in that Act 2 spot. So now, let me tell you a little bit about the process, like what happens now. So I finished the manuscript, that's what we call like just the book in its written form. So I just do it in a Google Doc. I then send that manuscript, I've sent it now to my publisher and my editor. All of Beck and my books are published by HarperCollins Publishers or ABC Books, and so that's now with them. And those guys are great. What they will do is they will read it. They're the first people to read it, and they will read it and they will give me notes, and they will give me feedback on the book and tell me. They'll do like a big picture kind of like, yeah, we think this story is working, or we found it a bit confusing, or it didn't really quite work. And then they'll also do what's called an edit. So they'll go through kind of with a red pen, right? Although they do it on the computer. I'll show you when I get it. And they give me little notes. So that's what they're doing now. And then, so what we're kind of do is now it becomes a little bit more of a team effort as we try and make the words part of the book the best it can possibly be. Now, while I'm waiting, see, I've now sent that to them, and I wait for them, and that'll take them a few days, maybe a couple of weeks, depending. We're on a pretty tight schedule with this one, and that's dates are always in our head, because if you want to get a book into a bookshop by a certain time, then you've got to get it to the warehouse by a certain time, and to get it to the warehouse by a certain time, you've got to get it printed by a certain time, which means you need to send it to the printer by a certain time, and so on. And you end up with a schedule, right? And that's what this is. See this? This is like massive schedule. Okay, so now what I'm doing, because I've got a little bit of a gap, I'm doing some other projects as well, but we'll talk about that at another time. Now I can start thinking about some of the illustrations of Funny Kid Belly Flop. Now, that means I have to think first about my new characters. Okay, every kind of Funny Kid book has a couple of new characters. Sometimes they're kind of big main characters, like in Funny Kid Kicks Butt, you've got Spencer Daniels, right? Spencer Daniels is a pretty major character. But sometimes, like in, which one? In Funny Kid Gets Licked, you've got Old Doris. Okay, so Old Doris is only in a couple of chapters. She runs the canteen. at Red Hill Middle School. So she's only in a couple of scenes. Or Mrs. Sniggles, the principal, she only ever turns up in a couple of scenes in books here and there. Now, I do all of the illustrations for Funny Kid in a program on the computer called Adobe Illustrator. Okay? And what that means is I kind of build these characters in there, and it's a slightly different type of drawing. Okay? Because what you do is you draw with kind of shapes and lines. And obviously, you always draw with shapes and lines, but it's a little bit different to straight drawing with a pen. And I'm going to show you in more detail another day exactly how I make those characters. But what I thought I would show you is kind of what I've got here, which is my supporting cast document. Okay, so this is where all of my characters live. And when I create them into this document. Because when you've got a series like Funny Kid, I've established a drawing style for this book, right? Which is not my normal drawing style. Like it is, but it's a particular style for this particular series. It's not the same way that I draw Fart Monster. It's not the same way that I draw Pea Nut. Okay, and it's not the same way that I draw some new stuff, which I get to show you soon. In the next couple of days, I get to show you some new stuff. But what it is it's the Funny Kid style. So that means that all of the characters need to kind of feel like they fit together. And to do that, I kind of draw them all together, and I create them all together, and I have them in proportion to each other. So I know which characters are taller and shorter and thinner and wider and all of that than the others. So let me show you a little bit of this. Come over here. Okay, so come around here. There you go. Glare. There we go. So these are the characters. Here's Dad, baby Rosie, and Mum. Now, none of the major characters, none of the Max, Tyson, Abby, Pip, Hugo are in this document because they're major characters. They have their own sheets full of expressions, and I'll show you that another day. But this is my supporting cast, okay? So these are all of the other characters that turn up in the world of Funny Kid that exist in Red Hill. So you've got Mum, Miss Sweet, the teacher, Kevin, Layla, Ryan, Jade. Now over here, let's slide across. Sergeant Purcell, George Kahn. So Sergeant Purcell is Abby's mum. George Kahn is Pip and Tyson's dad. Coach Armstrong, okay, was Mr. Armstrong in Funny Kid for President, returns as Coach Armstrong in Funny Kid Slapstick. Mayor Lopez, who is the mayor of Red Hill. Dr. Duncan Bray. Tumbles the Clown from Funny Kid Stand Up. Mrs. Sniggles, she's the principal. Mr. Burt, he's kind of... I don't really know what Mr. Burt's job is. Mr. Burt does... he drives the bus in Prank Wars. He does... he kind of looks after lost property in Kicks Butt. He's kind of around. He's just around. Good on you, Mr. Burt. Then we've got old Doris over here. As I said, old Doris runs the canteen. We've got little girl who turns up in Kick Butt. We've got the health inspector. The health inspector from Funny Kid Gets Licked. Rupert, the stage manager at Red Hill Town Hall in Funny Kid Stand Up. The sports commentator in Funny Kid Slapstick. Grandpa, Max's grandpa. We've got Spencer Daniels. Spencer Daniels from Funny Kid Kicks Butt. Spencer's mum. No one likes Spencer's mum. Rad, or Rhonda Anderson Delaney, from Funny Kid Kicks Butt. Parakeet from Funny Kid Kicks Butt, and The Fridge. Funny Kid Kicks Butt had a lot of extra characters, including, we finally met Hugo's mum and dad, Mr. and Mrs. Goldstein. And then Zelda there turns up in Funny Kid Next Level. Now there are a couple of characters that are missing from that sheet, and I've got them in other documents, and I do need to kind of pull a couple of them over. But you'll see that I can create the characters there and make sure that when I add new characters, which I need to do now for Funny Kid Belly Flop, there is a swimming instructor called Chaz. That Chaz is going to feel consistent. It's going to feel like he fits into the world of Funny Kid, and I will know how tall he is compared to the other characters and things like that. He's going to be a really muscular but really skinny, like swimming supermodel, I think. Anyway, I'll show you when I make him. Anyway, so that's what I'm working on. That's kind of the next stage of Funny Kid while I wait for the edit to come back. And then once the edit comes back and we're all happy with all the words in our kind of Funny Kid team, then we start putting it onto the page and I start working out what illustrations are going to go where. And I'll show you that too. Anyway, thanks for coming to hang out today. I hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, so it's hump day. It's hump day. And I hope you have a really good day. Go make something, create something, invent something. Come up with something that wasn't there when you woke up this morning. Cool. All right, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.